How about I bring us in? Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, B?
Man, it feels good to be back at home. This is what I know.
I see you got the background going again.
Man, yeah, I got to step my game up. I've been telling myself that, when I travel and I still do the shows and everything, I need to have my portable green screen. But right now I have just a big, long, massive one that there's no way in the world I'm going to take down and then set back up when I go somewhere. So they have a lot more portable ones that are easier. So I got to step my game up and definitely do that. And thank you everybody for joining us today. We are coming to you live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And as always, we also air our shows on our Roku channel under Empower TV. So if you don't have Empower TV on your Roku device, I don't know what's wrong with you, but add it as a channel. And not only will you catch these two beautiful faces on there for Head to Head Sports, but you'll catch our news show Head to Head, as well as a variety of other content that we provide on there as well. So check it out. Let me know what you think. If you're a content provider and you want to add some content to it, just simply reach out to us at theparkermedia@gmail.com. If you'd like to advertise, please do the same thing as we do consistently, show commercials and things like that as well. Get your message out, get your product in front of more and more people. Well, Rand, man, anything go on this week in the NFL? No. That's a loaded question, man. I am so happy that the NFL has just been chugging along. I mean, every now and then you get some folks jumping up on the um, COVID list and everything, but for the most part, things have been pretty well run. The protocols have been working out very, very well. My man John Schiavone says the death of Mahomes. Okay. Yeah. Is
going
it
on there?
is it time for Kansas City to hit the panic button? Are they done? And see, for me, this is touching home because even though I was the one that predicted Kansas City, Tampa last year for the Super Bowl, I sat there like a dumbass and doubled down and said, you know what? Even though everybody else got significantly better, I still believe in Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady to get back to it. Oh my gosh. Now I see more comments coming in. We'll hit these two. Well, Anthony, I'm gonna get to that one after Mahomes. Anthony says Panthers overrated. I don't know who overrated the Panthers. Um, Brad Cawthon, relax. Is that a reference to Aaron Rodgers and the was it 5 or 6 games that they've won since they had that embarrassing opening day loss to New Orleans? But he puts it in relax, so that's cool. So first and foremost, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City. Oh man, Tennessee just sat there and ran all over them. They did everything to them. They just did everything. Brad says KC will be fine. You sure? You don't think it's time to hit the panic button? Because you got to remember, Brad, Kansas City was supposed to be in a really, really tough division. Um, yeah, okay, Anthony, I'll get that one in too. Kansas City was supposed to be the Giants are going to beat them. Watch. You know what? I would have said you were crazy before, John, on that, but I don't know. you know, well, was it the Kansas City that played the? I almost said it. The Washington football team in the second half, or the Kansas City team that played Washington in the first half? I ain't gonna talk about the one that did not show up against the Tennessee Titans. I honestly expected Derrick Henry to run for almost 200 yards in that game. So to their credit, he did not. He did run for what? What did Derrick Henry run for? 86 yards.
I know he
Which,
passed for one.
yeah, he caught more passes and he actually threw a touchdown, which Patrick Mahomes did not do. Didn't look too bad on that. Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass. He did. I don't know if you saw it, but Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass in that game. And Patrick Mahomes did not throw any touchdown passes. So Derrick Henry has a better QBR than Patrick Mahomes. So Brad, when you say KC will be fine, I don't know if you're talking about KC Masterpiece Barbecue or if you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. KC Masterpiece Barbecue will be just fine, but I don't know about the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes threw 206 yards. He threw a pick. Again, like I said, he didn't throw any touchdowns. Chad Henne had to come in the game when Mahomes got knocked out for concussion protocol, and he did okay, 11 for 16 for 82 yards, but the game was well out of reach by then. Tennessee had already done all the damage that they would and needed to do by that point. Ryan Tannehill, pedestrian game for him, 21-27, 270 yards, 1 touchdown. I agree with John. Chiefs are going to be a 7-loss team. John, I'm going to say at least minimum, because they've already lost 4 and their schedule doesn't really get any easier. To this point, Kansas City, the Giants come to play Kansas City. At best, I'm going to say that's a toss-up, because who's going to be healthier, Kansas City or the Giants? And he's right. The Giants' defense is looking a lot better, but who have they played? So, Brad, okay, 7 losses. Who wants to play them first round? Brad, you got to make it to the playoffs to play somebody in the first round, bro. I know everybody right now still saying, well, Kansas City can get in as the wild card. What do you think, Rand?
I think Kansas City will be okay, but one thing that's got to change is those turnovers for Mahomes. That's been surprising, man. 9 interceptions from Mahomes already, and we're only 7 games into this thing. I don't think he had 9 interceptions all of last year. So that Madden curse is starting to show itself.
That Madden curse is undefeated. Let's look at it this way. There's 7 teams in the AFC that go to the playoffs. 4 of the spots will be spoken for in the form of whoever wins their division. Right now, as currently constructed, Buffalo is pulling away with the AFC East. Don't think that's going to be any issue there. Buffalo is in there. Lock. I'll get back to the AFC North. AFC South. You've got Tennessee at 5-2, and the next closest team are the Colts. So let's give it to Tennessee for right now, because unless they stumble, being 2 games behind, which is where the Colts are right now with them, may be a lot to ask for them to come back from. So you've got the Titans, you've got the Bills. That's 2 of the 7. Now the AFC North. You've got the Bengals currently tied for first place in the AFC North with the Ravens. Let's just say the Ravens get it. That's 3. The AFC West, you've got the Raiders and the Chargers going back to back. Right now, the Raiders technically are in first place only because they've played 1 more game. They haven't had their bye yet. The Chargers have. So they're up by just a fraction. So let's just say the Raiders keep it. Well, that's 4. But would it be crazy enough to say that the Chargers would still be in the mix for the wild card? If they don't win the division, the Chargers are going to be in the wild card. That's 5. Same thing with the Bengals and the Ravens. If the Bengals don't stumble, they could be number 6. Now, that leaves, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, the Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos, Browns, and potentially the Colts in competition for that last playoff spot. Looking at their schedule, their health, the way that they're trending, who are you going to sit there and put before the Chiefs. I don't know about the Patriots. They probably done. I don't know about Baker Mayfield, but he could do it. I agree with Anthony. I think the Browns might get it. I do too. That would be 3 teams from the North. It could even be the Colts. Because after I see the way the Colts been trying to play with broke knee Carson Wentz, they act like they're trying to do something.
I tell you what, with the Colts, that defense is coming back, man. Like last year, that was a very stout defensive line and a good secondary. They started a little limp this season. Didn't start off with the best record. Wentz wasn't in there for a lot of that. But now that they got Wentz back, and Jonathan Taylor is just a beast at running back. If we're picking running back side of the AFC, of course I'm going Henry first, but I might take Taylor second, man. Kid is
Bruh,
no joke.
No joke. No
So,
joke.
Colts are coming back. They're forming back into shape. They begin that little run and get back to playoff contention like they were last year. I like their defense and I like their chances.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and you know, it's all now going to come down to schedule. And the Chiefs just don't have an easy run of it. After the Giants, the Packers come to town. After that, the Raiders, they go to Las Vegas. After that, oh God, they play them boys. And as much as I would love for them to beat the brakes off of Dallas, if I had to go with Kansas City and Dallas right now, the more complete team, it's Dallas. Not even close.
Yeah.
And if Mahomes is throwing that defense and Trayvon Diggs is out on the field, but that could be a 2 interception day game. Or he gonna lock one side of the field down and make him throw on the other side. One or the other. So you're really gonna hamstring your receivers that way. Either way, that's not a good formula. Then after that, they got the Broncos, they got the Raiders again, they got the Chargers, they got the Steelers, they got the Bengals, they got them are some hard games, bruh. Y'all ain't trying to tell y'all stick a fork in Kansas City. Well, yes, I am. Stick a fork in Kansas City. I picked them to go back to the Super Bowl, but they going to the Super Couch. There's no way in the world. Looking at Brad, because I know Brad's like, I'm going all in on the Chiefs. Give them a minute to address the woes. He said their defense needs to show up and actually play. They don't stop anybody, which makes it even worse because we know Patrick Mahomes is not a very patient person. He thinks he can score 13 points every pass he makes. He kind of reminds me of an NBA player. Sometimes gets a little crazy with jacking up a bunch of shots, trying to win the game with one shot when you're already down by 20. And so when your defense,
took, right?
Huh?
You saw that hit he took, right?
Yeah.
That was a hellacious hit, man. I was concerned, bro. Because it wasn't like just the head that was hit. His neck got contorted too. So.
Yeah. The fact that he got up like that, and they said he was fine and he could have came back, but they kept him out anyway. I mean, what'd you need him for? You already done. Just might as well just go ahead and ice up, like Steve Smith would say, ice up. But Brad, you're right. They can't stop anybody. And, you know, I'll say this and I'll drive this point in every single time. When your offense cannot sustain drives, you wear your defense out. So even if you have just a borderline bend but don't break defense, or you've got a defense that every now and then will give up the big play, they're going to be even more susceptible to that the more you put them out there. The more tired they are, they're going to sit there and be open. If you have a quarterback, especially with any kind of play action, where it sucks them in a little bit because they don't know if it's a run or not, if you handing the ball off and you fake it, play action, that gives your wide receivers just a little bit more time down the field. That makes the defensive backs actually pause enough to whether they have to really figure out, is this a run or a pass? When your defense is tired and they're having to take in all that information like that, you're opening yourself up to some crazy things downfield. Brad also says their run game is nowhere near what it used to be. Give Andy a minute to figure it out. Well, part of that is just twofold. It's your line, but also Clyde Edwards-Helaire hadn't been in the game, and that was your best back there. Anthony says, I think the Browns might get it, referring to the 7th pick. And then, yeah. Well, yeah. And then he said, as far as the Cowboys game, it would be Diggs versus Tyreek Hill.
That's going to be a crazy matchup, man. I can't wait to see that. And I do hope Mahomes is there for it, because that's going to be dope.
Oh, I want to see that. I definitely want to see that all day, every day. That game is actually November the 21st. So that's going to be a Sunday game. So that will be really, really good to see. That's hell. They ought to flex that and move that to Monday night, to be honest with you. Just go ahead and even though the record wouldn't say it's going to be, I would love to see Diggs Hill matchup in prime time.
Absolutely.
For that very reason. Absolutely.
The Super Bowl windows are shallow most of the time. Kansas City's was open for a while, but now you're starting to see some little cracks in that Super Bowl window. It's closing up pretty quick. They invested a whole lot in the offensive line after the Super Bowl, and the problems that they had in the Super Bowl against that Tampa Bay rush, where Tampa was getting there with only 4 people. And those moves so far this year have not worked out, because still under crazy pressure, still having some issues running the ball. So I agree, man. It's going to be a tough road for KC, but I think it's all in the hands of Mahomes as usual. But right now, he's going to have to clean it up, because, like I said, 9 picks so far, that's not going to help him. And that defense is not going to help him.
He's really got to clean it up, because you got to remember, while y'all are trying, as Brad put it, figure it out, the other teams vying for those playoff spots, as constructed right now, have less to figure out. So you go ahead and figure it out. But if you don't win, I mean, if you go in like John says and you lose 7 games, you're not going to the playoffs. I'm sorry. If you was in the NFC East and you lost 7 games, other than this year, of course, then you got a good chance. But not this year. I don't think there's going to be, because if you've lost 7 games, that means you're going to be 10-7. I don't see any 10-win team, unless they win their division, going to the playoffs. Not this year. Anthony says it's just like that every year with teams. You can't give your I knew he was going to go there. I knew he was going to say this. You can't give your quarterback 75% of cap money. How many teams are bad because of that? Anthony, I'm going to be honest with you. Not as many yet. Just the ones that have come up after this whole $40 million mess now that they're doing with the quarterbacks. Now Baker Mayfield is probably going to be the next beneficiary of a $35 to $40 million a year contract. That's going to be crazy. It does put your team in a position where they have to get very, very creative. It's what, and I don't know what the end to this is going to be. It's just going to get crazier and crazier, because what's going to happen is, if you pay Baker Mayfield 35 to 40 million, then you're going to get the next quarterback behind him to go, well, wait a minute, I'm better than Baker, so why can't I get 45? It's just going to keep getting better. Yeah, you got Baker and Lamar next in line. Exactly. So they are, and don't not believe they're not looking at each other to see who gets their deal done first. If Baker gets his deal done first, Lamar's camp is going to say, hey, my resume look better than his. So if he's getting 35, that's the bottom for me. We ain't going to start talking till we up at the 39, 42 then. Everybody's going to use that as leverage. That's what back in the day when they used to do rookies, when they first came out, they were all over the place, and they had to come up with a scale because of this whole thing. If you get drafted at this spot, this is what you're going to make, regardless of position or anything. This is what you make at this spot. You get drafted number 12 over number 15. Okay, it's going to be more, and it's going to slide right into this scale. And they ain't really have a whole lot to work with. But once you go for that second and third contract, then all the leverage is within the player. And that's why a lot of the tight ends that receive on 75% of the snaps want to be paid as much as receivers because they get slighted being a tight end. So it's all that kind of thing. But I agree with you. When you got the quarterback making a whole lot more, it does hamstring the team. A lot of times you hear about them teams going back to other players and saying, hey, Rand, we need to restructure your deal. And all that is that they're going to front load a lot of your money into bonuses as opposed to payroll.
We kind of had this conversation last week. It got into the same thing, and my answer to that is going to remain the same. What's your alternative? You really gonna let Mahomes hit the free agency?
Hell no.
Every single
or Baker.
Every single team in the league will be willing to pay Mahomes what he wants. So if you don't do it, you got 31 others that are gonna do it. So that's where you're hamstrung at. And you're going to just have to do it. You're going to have to do it. Position of leadership, probably the reason why you have a ring. So you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, this whole thing about, listen, I want to truly believe that teams have figured out that they need to build for the future. And I'm going to be honest with you. That's a bunch of crap. Because I'm going to tell you why. Coaches ain't got that long. You know, Mike Tomlin is a unicorn because he's been with the Steelers a long time now. How many coaches since Mike Tomlin got into that position have gone in and out of the other organizations?
Can't count them. Can't count them.
So the point to that is that while the Rooneys have been very, very, very patient, even after 8-8s and those kinds of seasons, the head coach has remained. But a lot of these places, that head coach knows that when the first ball is snapped, they hear that. What is that sound? What is that sound? Tick, 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 tick. Oh, you on the clock.
On the
Clock's
clock,
ticking.
brother.
Clock is ticking.
And you know what? This kind of slides in beautifully to what I want to get across next.
Okay.
I had a lot of confidence in Coach Rule for Carolina. That confidence is sliding, Brian. I mean, you could give me your thoughts on this, man, but I'm starting to see a guy that's talking in circles, a guy that doesn't have the answers, a guy that kind of says just crazy stuff out of the blue because he don't know the answers to the questions. He's kind of spinning in circles. I'm not seeing a lot of strong leadership. I've been patient with the guy because I know he's coming from college or whatnot. I was kind of questioning the 7-year deal when he got it initially.
Yeah.
But, they said he was able to turn teams around, but I don't know, man. I'm not seeing a lot of strong leadership qualities right now. I'm still willing to give him some time, but those in-game decisions and the adjustments that are not made after halftime are red flags. What's your thoughts on that?
Whoo, okay. So I know you saw some of my posts on Sunday because I was just mad. It's one thing to lose. Nobody wants to lose any game, but sometimes to me, it's how you lose. And playing down to your competition is going to drive me madder than anything because some of that is effort, but a lot to what you said is just straight leadership. I mean, you act like he don't really know what's going on, like he's in over his head.
Yeah.
I mean, why did you pull Sam Darnold? I mean, you were getting your tail whipped well before that. If you needed a spark, he said, I needed a spark. No, you needed some defense. You needed your receivers to stop dropping balls. You need your quarterback to stop trying to throw into pressure. You need a lot more things than a spark. You know, when I sit there and I'm at a campfire, I need a spark. You know, when I sit there and I need my car to turn over, all I need is a spark. No. You could have had a spark in your car, but you still didn't have no tires. You ain't had no rims. Hell, you ain't had no gas in it. So yeah, you could have said, hey, my battery dead and all I need is a spark. Okay, but what about the 4 tires that you missing? What about the gas that you missing? How about the steering wheel that you don't got? Dude, you missing a whole lot of stuff more than just a spark. I don't know what you're talking about. I needed a spark. No, yeah, you need a spark. You need a spark on your backside to run your tail about at Carolina. That's what need to happen.
You know what? Can I ask you a question too? Tell me why our backup quarterback is a quarterback with no more game experience than the XFL.
Because he played for was it Baylor or Temple?
Yeah. You know how Jordan kind of got in trouble. I know I'm switching to NBA, but you know how Jordan got in trouble back in the day from
all Carolina players,
running all his North Carolina friends, you know, strong little management team as far as a bond, but as far as producing wins and victories, not so much, man. So
right.
I don't know if this whole rule thing is working. I'm trying to be patient with it, but it's looking a little ridiculous.
Look, I don't see where these players have bought into this system.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, don't. And here's the other thing. Everybody has figured out your playbook. I got a page out of Joe Brady's playbook. It was only one page. McCaffrey right. McCaffrey left. McCaffrey middle. Turned it over. There was nothing on the backside. That was the whole playbook. That was the playbook. Listen, they figured that out. Oh, I'm sorry. There was the 4th play. Check down. Don't really throw it to nobody. Throw it to McCaffrey. You know, because he would go through the progressions of his checks and everything and then throw it to McCaffrey as a check down. And now you don't have McCaffrey. Chuba Hubbard is not garbage. He's not a scrub. If you used him properly, if you used Trimble properly, reimagine your offense, Joe Brady. Christian McCaffrey is not coming in as a knight in shining armor to save the day.
No.
Run your game plan as if McCaffrey is never coming back. Because if he ain't on the field, it doesn't matter. You have to run your offense with the 53 guys that you put on the active list each and every week. C-Mac ain't one of them. Hell, he's still out on my Madden game. I don't know if he's going to come back on my Madden first or in real life, but he's always out.
Yeah, man, not very reliable. And I tell you what, you know, while we're on the Panthers, just a little bit about the game with the Giants. I tell you, that was one of the more disappointing losses I've ever experienced as a Panthers fan. And it kind of reminded me of the 1-15 season. The Giants were giving up 30 points per game.
Right.
Average. 30 points a game, man. And we go in there and we can score no more than 3. And those 3 came off the first drive. So the whole rest of the game, nothing from our offense. Our defense, I think we played well enough to actually win the game had we had some type of offense going at all. But to your point, and to mine too, because I've said this before, you cannot just run defense out there after 3 and outs, because they're eventually just going to get gassed. And
7 punts.
What is the point of you continually stopping? You continually taking away short fields and forcing field goals if you put an offense out there just going to run 3 plays and a punt.
Rand, listen to this. The Panthers had 11 first downs. The Giants had 21.
Insane.
We allowed 6 sacks. They had 2. Carolina punted 7 times. They punted 5 times.
Was Saquon Barkley in this game?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's insane.
Saquon wasn't in the game. Their receivers weren't in the game. You're playing, and I keep seeing people on water cooler talking about, yeah, but did you see some of the folks from special teams haven't played defense? Well, who was their wide receivers?
Right. Galladay wasn't in the game. That's
No. Shepard wasn't in the game.
Shepard is your number 2. So without your number 1
Saquon
and
wasn't
your
in
number
the
2
game.
and your number 1 running back, you still get beat by
And they still ran for 100 yards rushing. 103.
Insane.
They had 100 yards rushing. Daniel Jones didn't have to do anything to look spectacular when on the other side we look like dude.
Yeah.
But they ran it enough and they did it well enough to carry the day. Darius Slayton was their biggest receiver, 5 catches, 63 yards. Evan Ingram, 6 catches, 44 yards. So they didn't have to really do a lot. If you had just went in there and executed a decent game plan, the numbers that they put up against you should not have been good enough to win a game. You threw away a game that in all rights you should have won. Those are the games that I hate. Those are the games I hate. You gave a team that had no hope a bunch of confidence for no reason at all. The fact that Sam Darnold and Matt Rule are still in Carolina to this day not only makes me question Sam Darnold and Matt Rule, but it makes me question Dave Tepper.
Sam Darnold, I'm glad you brought him up. No longer the answer. I got no more faith in this kid. I tried to have open eyes with this decision when he came over and kind of see it from their standpoint as he had bad management, bad coaching, and a bad offensive line in New York. Maybe a fresh start here with better coaching, better support, better weapons, and a better line would give him a chance to show who Sam Darnold really is. Okay, so I understand our offensive line sucks. I understand that there's not a lot of pass protection there. But, man, you have to make better decisions even under pressure. You have to. That game against the Giants where we were driving and he chooses to throw into damn near triple coverage into the end and right to a defender is mind-boggling. And he was not under pressure duress for that pass. So those trying to defend Sam Darnold, man, you're going to have to
you got some folks on your page that keep wanting to come to his defense talking about what he don't got. Listen, I seen Tom Brady sit there with less talent do a lot more. I've seen Aaron Rodgers year after year sit there and have to do. Everybody want to now have revisionist history about them Packers because he got Devontae Adams now. He ain't always had Devontae.
No, he has not.
There's been times when he sat there and had to do a whole lot with a lot. He ain't always had Aaron Jones back there. He's had a lot of times he had to make names on the back of them jerseys.
Yep.
There are certain guys that can do that. There's a lot more quarterbacks that I will agree that you got to give them the right kind of ingredients for it to taste the way you want it to taste. There are a lot of quarterbacks that way. Sam Darnold is definitely one of them. Jimmy Garoppolo is definitely one of them. You know, Trubisky is definitely one of them. Josh Allen ain't that dude.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford is kind of one of them dudes that if you give him a lot of decent stuff, a lot of weapons to play with, he gonna scorch you. There's a lot of quarterbacks that, you do have to hand them a lot of stuff, ideally for them to be able to go. But you know what? I'm just talking about the Panthers right now.
You know what?
And he ain't that dude. He's that dude. But for some reason, I have your team beating the Falcons. Well, then you crazy. You need to get a drug test, Anthony. They're not gonna beat the Falcons. There's no way in hell they're gonna beat the Falcons. Listen, the best chance they got for them beating the Falcons is if I'm the quarterback, or better yet, if they go get their Atlanta native quarterback, call him back and say, "Yo, Cam, we was wrong, man. We sorry. We thought we thought we could just replace you and move on and forget about you." It's like the whole Steve Smith thing when they got rid of Steve Smith and they kept auditioning everybody to be the next Steve Smith and they could never find one. It's going to be 10 years later and we still trying to find the next Cam Newton.
I'm saying roll the dice with Cam Newton. What you got to lose?
You ain't got nothing to lose now.
This cannot continue. This cannot continue.
If anything, you ain't going to have people leaving in the third quarter.
Either Sam Darnold improves
Yeah.
or we're gonna have to pick up the phone and give an apology to Superman.
You're gonna have
It's one or
to.
the other. It's one or
You're
the
gonna
other.
have to.
Because this is crazy. We
Yeah, it's
can't
crazy.
continue to send this kid out here to struggle, knowing that we got an XFL backup that's gonna come in for him. It's ridiculous.
Anthony said, you know what, Anthony, before I read it, I'm gonna say probably for about 16 seconds, I thought about what you just said. Should have kept Bridgewater.
Hey, I tell you what, Teddy is balling harder than Sam right now. I tell you what.
But you know what? I don't know if keeping Bridgewater would have been the answer, because Teddy is the example of what you just said. Different place maybe gives him a different perspective. Maybe the best thing that happened to Teddy was getting traded to Denver.
I agree.
Had he stayed, I don't think we would have seen the Teddy that's in Denver produce as the Teddy in Carolina. And I say that because I remember growing up, and I know I'm mixing my sports now, but with basketball, there would be plenty of times when I would root for the Hornets and they would get rid of a guy. But and I'd be like, oh, no big deal. But then when that guy would go to another team, he ball out. And I'm like, why you ain't do that in Charlotte?
Man, that used to happen all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Every single time. You just knew when they traded somebody, you like, oh, he about to be a first-time All-Star selection. Damn near would. I'd be like, where was all of this? Remember when Byron Davis got traded and he went to the West Coast? And then he became BD. BD was just dunking on everybody. Like, I mean,
I remember the Lakers when they got Shannon from the Bobcats, and Shannon did nothing for the Bobcats.
Yeah, Shannon Brown.
Shannon Brown. He was leaping over everybody.
Yeah, I'm like, dang. Yeah. Oh my God, it goes back so much. Oh my God, it's just unbelievable how many players I've seen be in Charlotte do okay, and then they go somewhere else, and then they just ball out and lose their mind. And I'm like, okay, what are we, chopped liver? Oh, so Anthony had asked you this question. He said, first he had said, yeah, you got Baker and Lamar next in line. Lamar will get paid more than Dak because Lamar is the whole offense. Yeah, I just hope they don't try to mess with Lamar like Jerry messed with Dak. I think it's different because I think Ozzie and the guys there are a lot more respectable than Jerry Jones is. So hopefully they will judge Lamar not on what a prototypical quarterback would be and rank him that way, but look at his overall value to a team. That's the only way you should evaluate your quarterback. What does he mean for your team? Not if he was on any other team, what he would look like. You can't do that. And I think for the longest, that's how young African-American quarterbacks get looked at sometimes. So I hope that they do not sit there and mess around with him. Then Anthony did ask Randall, who's your top 5 coaches on the hot seat? That's a great question.
Anthony, great question.
That's a great question.
Catching me off guard with that one. Wow, that's a great question. I tell you what, I could give you 3. I wouldn't necessarily say hot seat, but simmering or starting to simmer. We'll put it that way. Number 3, I'm going to go the coach we just talked about, Rule. That is starting to get a little bit of
because Dave Tepper is
not a patient guy.
He's not a patient guy. He wants to win.
Right.
He wants to win. And if the fans are souring on your coach, and if it looks like the players haven't bought in,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gonna rip that 7-year deal up and move on to the next.
I agree with that one. Totally.
Number 2, I'm gonna say, and I know this is fresh and just starting. We got to give this guy some time. So that's why I don't think he's on the hot seat. But starting to simmer, Dan Campbell in Detroit. I don't know how much longer they put up with that crap. I mean, all the wrestling bravado and all that. A rough guy, I'm gonna bite some kneecaps off and and chew and all that good stuff, gouge out your eyes. I mean, talk only goes but so far, man. If they don't start putting some W's up, I don't know how much longer Detroit will put up with this. You could see him probably going next year. I wouldn't say this year. My number one is going to be a little controversial, but I wouldn't give it to you anyway. How about Pete Carroll in Seattle, man?
Woo!
Yeah, I don't see that happening too much further.
You know what? It's funny you say that. It's not as controversial, and he didn't really help himself when he made that comment that, hey, if it wasn't for Russell Wilson, I probably would have been gone by now. Like, you think? I agree with him. I agree with him.
And I didn't put the Jacksonville coach up there because everybody know that one. He ain't gonna be here much longer.
You know what? I thought that was gonna be your number one. I was waiting for you to
He should be my number one. I changed
and I also thought you were gonna put Matt Nagy in there as well in the top 5 up in Chicago.
He's probably number 2. But the Pete Carroll thing is real.
I got a dark horse in there too. That if I had to expand it out to 5 or 6, well, I got 2 in the 5 and 6. Potentially Brian Flores.
Okay.
Down in Miami.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a train wreck.
Yeah, they may just say, hey, if we get rid of Tua, we might as well get rid of the coach too. Let's start over.
Watson might save them. We'll see how that transpires.
Yeah, that could give him that 1-year extension that no coach wants because you're just a lame duck at that point. Yeah. And then finally, my other one is, he said it's crazy you didn't say Joe Judge or Matt Nagy. Well, I ain't gonna say Joe Judge because they may give him the whole he hadn't had Saquon thing.
There you go.
And that may save him there. Matt Nagy, he could play Jesus right now, and the writing is on the wall. You let Jesus have a 120 QBR. Why isn't it higher? You're a bad coach. So I think honestly, Mr. Shanahan might be having some problems.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because as you said earlier, Super Bowl windows are very narrow, and this team was trying to build for now. I think they're further away than they want to admit that they are. Jimmy G is not the quarterback you need him to be. You're wasting away Deebo Samuel's talents, and some of the other players on that team. Honestly, defensively, they hadn't been what they've been. So they've got a lot of issues too. So if Brad jumps on here and says we'll give them some time and let them figure it out, listen, you're supposed to do all that in all season. You don't be driving down the road and you still trying to put the car together. That's what the garage is for.
Yeah.
You don't say, oh, I'll just figure it out on the fly. I wish I might be on an airplane where they talking about, hey, y'all, we be good as long as we get this other wing on here. Wait, what? You'll be trying to figure it out.
I figured out that I got the takeoff down.
If you're trying to figure it out going into week 8, you too late. I'm sorry. You can't be trying to figure that out in week 8. You can't say that Saquon been injured every year and they don't give Joe a pass. No, but they were actually starting to show some signs of improvement when Saquon got hurt early last year. And there have been some, and listen, I am no Giants lover, trust me. I'm not even a fan of Daniel Jones because I think that they well overreached to get him. I think you talking about tying your salary 75% to your quarterback. How about tying a number 6 pick to a quarterback that should have been taken in the second round?
Absolutely.
And then overpaying him. When you could have sat there, if you didn't feel comfortable about any other quarterback, why not trade down, get 2 picks out of it, and build your team, Dave Gettleman, and get some more of those hog mollies that you love to protect whoever the eventual quarterback is going to be. Anyway, I digress. So I'm definitely not a Daniel Jones fan, but I would not be being fair if I didn't say I have seen flashes of Daniel Jones for that team. Would I take him for Carolina? No. Hell no. But for the Giants, are you further along with Daniel Jones versus bringing in a new rookie? Yeah, you are. Did I agree with Joe Judge being was he a special teams coach for New England, getting a head coaching job when there's other guys that have been in the NFL longer and had more significant roles?
Be enemy.
Hello. No, I wasn't on the board with that, but that's who they went with and everything else. So if I had to say anything, Anthony, before I get rid of Joe Judge, me and Dave Gettleman would be having a talk first.
Got that right.
Dave, bring your employee badge with you. That's how that talk. You know how when they get ready to cut a play, to tell them to bring the playbook.
Yeah.
bring your employee ID and all your login credentials, please. Thank you. And bring your Surface Pro. You won't be needing that anymore. Oh man, yeah. So I would definitely think about Dave Gettleman. But we did mention Matt Nagy, and Kyle Shanahan is definitely, if it's not a hot seat, is going to start to warm. And I understand the game that they just played was in, a damn bomb cyclone and stuff like that. But just looking at Jimmy, man,
looks lost.
He looks so scared and lost out there. He does. He looked. I almost felt bad for him. I almost felt like somebody just needed to run out there and just go get him, and save him from himself. No grown man is going to say, "Take me out of a game." We all have pride and everything, but he looked like he was just looking around for somebody to come get him. So yeah, that was a terrible, terrible game for him. And it doesn't seem like it's going to get better. Again, and I don't want to pick on Brad the whole show, but he keeps talking about. Let them work it out and figure it out. You can't. Some things you just can't figure out in season during the week. You're not sitting there going hard. You're going through more walkthroughs and things like that. You're trying to install a new set of plays and things like that. And some of these other teams got to expand their playbook. They go in with maybe 12 to 14 scripted plays, which is definitely what Carolina did. They went in with scripted plays. They worked, they used them all up, and you could tell after that it was improv at the Apollo. They didn't have no more scripted plays, and thus they had no more offense. Teams have to sit there and practice for a lot of different situations. I know teams practice their 2-minute huddles. They're no huddles. They're 2-minute drills and all that kind of stuff. But you also need to expand your playbook out. And if your quarterback can't grasp most of that playbook, then you got a problem. And it starts to show in the game when you can't run but certain plays because you don't feel comfortable that your quarterback can run it.
Bingo. And I think that's what's happening with Sam. Playbook was I wouldn't say wide open at the beginning of the year, but they saw what he could do in the Jets game. They opened it up a lot, and come the Dallas game, when he started turning the ball over, and the game after that, turning the ball over, there you go, shrinking playbook. Half field reads, short passes, dump stuff, because they no longer trust this guy, man.
Yeah, he's got all them plays on his arm.
Yep.
And he probably on the comms going, well, why don't we do? And they said, no. Well, what about? But how about? When you doing that, you are basically saying to your quarterback, I don't believe in you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say all the right things to the media. Deshaun who? Deshaun Watson. Sounds familiar. But no, you know what? The only quarterback that I know that's my quarterback is Sam Darnold. What else can you say?
Right.
What else? I mean, come on. Matt Rule, let me give you some true serum so you can really say, shit, I wish.
Yep.
He ain't gonna. You think I don't know why they even sit there and ask. I get it. You're the media. You're supposed to ask. But what coaching other than Urban Meyer? Urban Meyer might actually tell you
He
the
might
truth.
actually say it.
Because he's stupid like that. He might tell you, yeah, I'd love to take Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And the quarterback could be sitting right next to him in the
Yo,
press
right
conference.
next to him.
Because he don't know no better. So taking Urban Meyer out of it, no other coach is going to sit there and tell you, oh, yeah, Deshaun Watson is available. Yeah, I'll send Christian McCaffrey and 2 first-round picks for him. Even though he should. That's going to be a whole nother subject. And I know we got to get out of here, but I see that there was, would you put Nick Sirianni on the hot seat or kick him out if they take an L against the Lions? That's a great question. Sirianni kind of reminds me a little bit of Matt Rule. It's just kind of like they're just these firebrand guys that just say these things that look tough, but if you ever say if they almost remind me of Facebook gangsters. Like they talk all this good stuff, but if they ever tried to say that and I was standing in front of them, probably couldn't even get their 2 lips apart from each other. You think somebody can gorilla glue them together? They say all of that, they stick their chest out, then you meet them in real life and you see that they've been using a bunch of filters. It ain't even what you thought it was.
Hey, B, and I hate to interrupt you, man. We got the full 75 minutes. We good. So we're going to keep this rolling.
Okay. Nice. Perfect. Thank you. Well, in that case, losing to the Lions, I don't think should be the thing that cost Sirianni his job. You got to evaluate him on developing Jalen Hurts. And so you're going to really need to, because you went all in. You pushed all your chips into the middle of the table when you said, Carson, we appreciate you. Good luck in Indy. And you went with Jalen Hurts. Well, Sirianni is going to be tied to that development. So if Jalen starts to regress, I don't really know if Jalen is going to be their long-term solution, but you got to see what you got. I don't think this is the year for him. I think next year potentially, but breaking back into that a minute, that goes back to my point earlier. Coaches don't have 6-7 years to build.
No. What's NFL stand for?
Yeah, not for long.
Not for long.
Yeah, and it's not. So that's why I said when you see these unicorns like a Tomlin or Belichick, realize that is the exception and not the rule.
Absolutely.
Or Matt Rule, no pun intended. Oh, all puns intended. How many coaches has Atlanta had? How many coaches has Cincinnati had? How many coaches has Detroit had since Jim Caldwell? My God. They don't stay real long. They don't.
My knock on Sirianni is this. You have a quarterback in his, what is this, year 2 for Hurts? Or
technically year 2. Some people keep wanting to say he's a rookie.
Okay. So you got a quarterback with not a whole lot of in-game experience. You have a really good running back in Sanders, but you only let him touch the ball about 10 times a game. And I'm seeing this around the NFL. Like a lot of teams are not sticking with the run and becoming like pass all of a sudden.
They're running from the run.
Yeah. And I'm just questioning that because, I mean, the NFL been around for a long time. And I know it's a passing league, but you just can't abandon the run altogether, man. So,
Rand, listen to this and tell me how stupid this is. The rushing game against the Raiders, 6 carries for 30 yards. Miles Sanders. Boston Scott had 7 carries for 24 yards. Boston Scott. Gainwell had 5 carries for 20 yards. But that ain't even the whole tee-hee-hee. Because between Gainwell, Scott, and Sanders, they rushed for 74 yards and 18 carries. Your quarterback ran 13 times for 61 yards.
Again, just no support of him, man. No support of a young
I don't know how many of those were designed and how many of them were necessary. Like, I got to make a decision. I got to go.
Yeah.
But even still, to your point, your running back basically ran 1.5 times a quarter.
Which is insane. Because if you look at this guy over the season, I think he's averaging over 4.5 per carry per rush or whatnot. So to give him
Correct.
that few touches when he's
Correct. In this game, even with the limited runs, that was 5 yards a carry.
I'm telling you. I don't understand the thinking there at all.
I don't either. And then to drive that point home, in that game, they lost the time of possession 27-32. Well, I think if you would have kept the ball on the ground more, you would have won the time of possession.
Right?
Hey, but listen, I understand that I don't have the salary that these NFL coaches have, so maybe they know something that I don't or you do, but that's just crazy. Yeah, Anthony, I was going to hit that one too if we had time. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what running the ball. I mean, it's almost like they're acting like the Rams when they all of a sudden just mysteriously stopped running Todd Gurley and nobody could understand what the hell, what's going on? Why ain't you running Todd Gurley? Todd Gurley's a beast, and there was just unexplainable. He'd be on the side, the game be going on. You're like, Gurley's not even in the game. Like, what's going on? So is something wrong with Miles Sanders? Because if not, please send him to Carolina.
Oh God, we'll take him.
Yeah, him and Chuba Hubbard. Wow.
We'll take him.
Yeah. Hell, we'll run a lot of Wildcat. We don't need no quarterback back there. Get Sam. Move. Out the way. Shit. Just direct snap it. Damn it. Derrick Henry can throw a touchdown. I'm sure Chuba can throw one. There was a game played on Sunday in Tampa where the Bears showed up. Well, I guess they did. Justin Fields.
You said they showed up.
Justin Fields got introduced real quick to the NFL. 3 interceptions, 184 yards against that Tampa defense. When you got a defense back there, like Tampa's, you better be playing on all cylinders, because some of these throws that he made as he was falling down and stuff like that, and then throwing those picks. A team like Tampa is very opportunistic. But on the offensive side of the ball, it was again another milestone. I mean, Brady only threw 4 touchdowns, but it's crazy because he only threw the ball 36 times, hooked up for 20 of them, only threw for 211 yards, but had 4 touchdowns. A lot of that was because of the damage that they did on the ground that kept him in a whole lot of second and shorts, didn't have a whole lot of third downs, ran the ball extremely well. I even saw the reemergence of Rojo come out. Rojo been in Bruce Arians' doghouse for so long, he was hungry, and he ran angry. He had 6.3 yards a carry, angry.
Woo.
10 carries, 63 yards. Fournette, 15 for 81. That's 5.4 carry. Keyshawn Vaughn even got in the mix, 5 for 27. So they ran angry the whole game. You would have thought they did something to somebody. Fournette catching passes out the backfield, which was good. Gio Bernard caught some passes out the backfield, which was good. Mike Evans, when he doesn't have some shutdown corner just giving him all the attention, boy, he's a bad man. I really thought Chris Godwin was going to have the better game. And Chris Godwin did have the better game yardage-wise. He had 111 yards, 8 carries, and Mike Evans had 6 receptions for 76 yards. But Mike had 3 touchdowns in this game. Godwin had 1. So when it came to end zone offense and stuff like that, Mike Evans was definitely the go-to guy on Sunday against the Bears. In the process of that, Tom Brady threw his 600th, not counting playoffs, touchdown pass.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I don't know how many more records this man can break, even though he said on the Let's Go podcast the other day that, if he wanted to, he could play the 45 or 50. So
I ain't going to doubt him. I'm done doubting.
I mean, if anybody else had said that, I'd be looking at him like, "You sure you ain't high?" And it kind of reminded me of Friday when Craig started going, "Why? I look high?
Right.
No, I'm cool. I'm cool. No, you high. You high because you heard that cookie jar talking to you, Craig." but anybody that need a Friday reference, go watch Friday if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's just incredible. I mean, the man's 45, 44 years old, and he's throwing 600 touchdowns, and he's throwing 4 touchdown games.
This season for Tom Brady, 21
Yep.
touchdowns. 21 touchdowns.
How many picks?
3 interceptions. 45 years of age, or 44.
And who's leading the yards? Leading the league in yards passed?
Would that be him too? It's insane, man.
Derek Carr has actually caught up to him. He's 6 yards away. But it took 8 games for Derek Carr to catch him. Oh, listen. This is how they judged the MVP last year with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying. Anybody knows me knows I am not a Tom Brady fan.
Me either.
But if you say he ain't a candidate, and people want to talk about Kyler Murray because they 6-0, okay, they got to play Green Bay tomorrow. Well, actually, they're going to beat Green Bay. We'll talk about that too because Green Bay's a little short on help. But record wise, I get it. He's definitely in the conversation, but I also put Joe Burrow in the conversation because obviously what Joe Burrow means to his team. If you look at how since he played before Joe Burrow got hurt, how they played after Joe Burrow got hurt, and now how they've kind of picked it up this year, what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are doing together as a unit is absolutely ridiculous. That one play where Jamar just sat there and spun out of all that coverage and then just proceeded to run down to the end zone like that.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a stat about him too, which is absolutely mind-blowing considering the history of the NFL and the history of wide receivers we've had in this league. 754 receiving yards through his first 7 games. He is the owner of that record now.
Yes.
Fastest player to 754 in NFL history. Insane.
That's insane. That's from a second-year quarterback, which you could also throw him in the Hurts kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's 1.5 because he didn't even get a full season in his first season.
Right.
When they took him, I was like, oh yeah. He's the real deal. Dude is getting 9.2 yards a pass attempt. Joe Burrow, that is.
Ooh,
he is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the 6th highest passer, slightly ahead of Lamar Jackson. Slightly under Kyler Murray. For everything Mahomes isn't, he's still 4th in the league in passing yards. That's crazy. And then, of course, Stafford, then Derek Carr, and then Thomas Joseph Brady. Dak is still like 8th. But then it's Mac Jones. Then Jared Goff, then Justin Herbert, then Kirk Cousins. So even Mac Jones is putting up he's 500 yards behind Brady, but that means a lot of other people are. Daniel Jones has passed for more yards than Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Technically, that's not fair. Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, because they've all played the same amount of games. Yeah, that's true. Daniel Jones has passed for 17 yards more than Aaron. And Teddy Bridgewater has only passed for 9 yards less than Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, just kind of looking at some of that. That's just crazy. When you look at that, because you would be thinking that some of these numbers wouldn't be where they are. But when I start thinking about my MVP candidates and everything, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, all in that conversation for me. No Cowboys.
I got the same
in my conversation.
I got the same for you that you just called. Yep.
Absolutely. They are definitely doing it. Let me see. What other game? Was there any other game that went on that was the Seattle Saints game that was boring? Cardinals beating the Texans, revenge game for J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins. Rams had a little bit of a hard time with Detroit. I don't know if that was an emotional thing or what, but they kind of pulled it out when they needed to, but it took their defense to do it more than their offense to do it. That was crazy. Patriots beat the crap out of the Jets 54-13, putting Zach Wilson out for a couple of games and bringing Joe Flacco back to the mix as a backup for the next game that they play. So Zach got hurt. I think it was his knee. And then the Patriots just commenced to just beating a mess out of them. Atlanta comes back at the end of the Dolphins game to kick a game-winning field goal to win that game 30-28. Kyle Pitts continues to start to pick up the pace as what I foresaw this dude doing when he was at Florida. He only had 7 receptions, but had 163 yards off of it.
Wow.
As a tight end.
Kelsey numbers.
That's nuts. Yeah, I can't even get that in Madden half the time. And let's see what else happened. We talked about Giants, Panthers, Packers. It looked like they were entertaining the Washington football team for the first quarter or so, and then they went ahead and pulled away 24-10. That bad man, Aaron Rodgers, put up 27 for 35, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He's always in that conversation. But again, the Packers have to play Arizona tomorrow without Davante Adams and now without Alan Lazard, who's been put on the COVID-19 list. Davante could potentially play if he gets 2 straight tests.
Yeah.
So what that signifies though is, what that signifies is that he's vaccinated so that he would be under those protocols. Lazard is quarantined for 5 days, which signifies that he is not vaccinated. So I wonder who gave it to who. I'm just saying, dog, be well. You know, I hope you don't have no symptoms. You gotta, I don't know with these NBA players. And then of course the Browns barely beat the Broncos 17-14. And it was not with Baker Mayfield. It was actually with Case Keenum, who played one of his former teams, because I believe Case did play for Denver at one point. Of course, I think he's kind of like that neighborhood girl that's dated everybody, you know, so I can't remember who he's been with.
Kind of like Fitzmagic.
Yeah, same. Yeah, Case Keenum, Fitzmagic, Colt McCoy. Those are your you'd be like, he's still playing? Like,
they don't buy a house.
About Geno Smith, they're like, Geno's still in the league?
Like, them quarterbacks don't buy a house in any NFL city. They rent.
No, they just rent a downtown condo. You know, they're like, hey, who knows? Is this going to be 6 months, 12 months? Yeah, let's just do 6 months and then month to month after that. Okay, cool. Is that your furniture? No, it's rented. It goes when I go. Oh, my gosh. So those are the games that we had this past week. Looking ahead, like I said, we have the Packers and the Cardinals. Would have been a really, really great Thursday night game. I think some of the sting is going to be out of it, especially if Davante Adams doesn't play. You would definitely want to see both of these teams at their best playing each other to really get a good gauge of how good Arizona really is. I've been the one that's been so reluctant about Kyler Murray because I just keep waiting for the bubble to bust with Kyler Murray, and it hasn't. So at some point, they're going to end up 17-0, and I'm still going to be like, yeah, I'm just waiting on Kyler Murray to show me something. So, you know, which is crazy. I got to just go ahead and say, okay, Kyler, you're doing your thing. You're playing every team in front of you, and you're winning the games that you're supposed to win. And as easy as that should be to say, there's a lot of teams that don't, Carolina, that do that.
Right.
Speaking of Carolina, they do go down to the Dirty South to play the Falcons. I'm looking for that to be an L. I don't even know if I'm going to watch that game because I'll probably just have to then go to Best Buy and buy brand new TVs that somehow fell off my wall accidentally and broke themselves. So I don't want to do that. And then the Colts play the Titans on Sunday. That should be a pretty good game. It's going to be in Indy.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
That's going to be a really, really good game.
Yep.
What's going to probably be a tail whipping is that the Miami Dolphins have to go all the way up to Buffalo and play the Bills. So I'm looking for that to be pretty bad for the Dolphins. What do you think about that game?
Blowout.
Blowout.
I see a couple of blowouts on the schedule as well.
Yeah, you got the Bengals going to the Jets. The way the Bengals been playing.
Blowout.
Oh boy. Oh, and I am so happy because Jamar Chase is in one of my fantasy teams.
Oh man, you lucky.
so you know how I fared out this past week. Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was just like, yes. Because he started out so slow, and I was like, oh God, it's gonna be a 13 this week. And then he had like over 50, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, little baby Jesus. Your Steelers are going to Cleveland to play the Browns. What you thinking about that game?
We have to have it. Absolutely have to have it. We got no choice. Got to have it now. I mean, you got Cincinnati balling out, which them destroying Baltimore was just eye-opening for me. But you got Cincinnati balling out. You got Baltimore, who ain't going to be fading away anytime soon, I don't think. So to keep pace with those boys, you got to beat the Browns. You have to.
And especially a division game where that counts even more heavily than out of division.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right. Eagles going to the Lions. That's a toss-up. Wake me up when it's over. The Rams are going to Houston. After the rough game that they had against Detroit, I'm really expecting LA to just lay it on Houston. Aaron Darnold is going to look at Davis Mills like that little dude on the prison yard, and he going to say, I'm going to get that cornbread. You going to get
Davis Mills is in trouble, bro.
I honestly think if Aaron Darnold gets close enough, Davis literally may just say, here, take the ball. You got to make a business decision. You going to let Aaron Darnold hit you?
I tell you what, for my fantasy squad, I got LA started this week. So I'm in good shape with that one.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. That's easy 20, 21. Easy. Maybe more. Most fantasy leagues, that's bare minimum 20. You get 10 when the game first starts. You'll be at 20 like 5 minutes into the game. He said, plus the Texans traded their running back. He's gone.
Oh, wow.
They did? Are you talking about not Johnson?
Yeah, I didn't hear about a recent trade, so I don't know.
Which running back? I know that some teams have been going into, if they're not going to do anything, then they'll start trading because the trade deadline is coming up second week of November. So I know that's getting close. So, wow, that's crazy. That's right. Mark Ingram. I did hear about that.
Oh, wow.
Mark Ingram wasn't their starting running back. So they still got like Johnson back there. So, I mean, for what it's worth. But that ain't going to be the reason that they lose. It's going to be everything else. 49ers get to travel to Chicago to play the Bears. I don't even know. I guess I'll give it to the 49ers. Honestly, it's going to come down to which quarterback makes the fewest mistakes.
And that's it.
And if he can get the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands, that dude is a game changer. And he's one of those guys that if you give him a 6-yard catch, he can take it down the field for a touchdown. He can break it open on you. So
easily. I hope they play Trey Lance for that game. I'd like to see Lance versus Fields.
That would go, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be nice. Yes. Yeah. So it'd be like, Jimmy, you all right? You look like you limping a little bit.
You look a little injured.
I always walk like this. No, Jimmy, I really think you need to elevate that leg for a little bit. Let me go ahead and put you on the IR for 3 games. What? It's just 3 games, Jimmy.
Yeah, we're gonna let you heal completely.
Yeah, you know, that's heal completely. Like, I've heard that before somewhere. Yeah. That's the last thing a quarterback hears before they get traded. So, and then the Patriots go to LA to play the Chargers, Jaguars and Seahawks, Bucks and Saints, Washington football team against the Broncos, Cowboys with the Vikings. That's going to be your Sunday night game. That actually is probably going to be a pretty good game. Could be a shootout.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Whoever has the ball last will probably win that game. I know I ran over by 5 minutes. Sorry about that. I just got all into it. But thanks everybody for joining us. We will see y'all again next week. Rand, thank you so much as always, sir. Appreciate you.
Good all questions, right, y'all. By the way, everybody that chimed in on the comments, good questions.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. Keep them coming. We appreciate y'all. We do this with y'all, and we will see y'all again next week. Peace.